Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, October 2nd, 2023. We welcome you to the October meeting of the Milford Board of Aldermen. Please join me as we salute our flag. Madam Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Alderman Archiola.
Alderman Archiola would like to be excused, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Alderman Beatty.
Present.
Alderman Broster. Alderman Casey.
Here.
Alderman Gurman.
Here.
Alderman Gennatasio.
Here.
Alderman Marlowe.
Here.
Alderman
Here.
Alderman Moore.
Present.
Alderman Mulrennan.
Here.
Alderman Picelli.
Alderman Picelli is going to be a little late, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Alderman Parente.
Here.
Alderman Vitro.
Here.
Alderman Vitale. Alderman Willis.
Alderman Willis would like to be excused, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. 11 are present.
We have 11 present. We do have a quorum. Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next portion of the meeting is devoted to public comment. Statements are strictly limited to the legislative function of the Board of Aldermen. Please use every effort to limit public speaking to the permissible business of this Board of Aldermen. The time limit granted to each speaker shall be 3 minutes. Residents, taxpayers, and electors may address the Board at this time. The Board encourages speakers not to express derogatory, insensitive, or offensive statements, or to engage in personal attacks against individuals. In order to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, we'd like to ask everyone to please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Anyone wishing to address the Board can do so at this time. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and address for the record. I don't think anybody wants to speak. That's fine. We'll move on to agenda number 3. Alderman Beatty, agenda number 3, consideration of minutes for the regular meeting held September 11, 2023.
I have one addition to the minutes in the discussion. In section 8C, when we were discussing the approval of the Plan of Conservation and Development, the POCD.
Excuse me, point of order, Mr. Chair. Madam Majority Leader, can you make the motion and discussion of the motion? Is that?
I am.
She is making a correction on the minutes.
But that would come after the approval, so we have a vote for approval, then it would be discussion on the motion, I would imagine.
No, right now we're considering the minutes, and she's making a mention of
But I didn't hear a second to the motion, though, that's all. Thank you.
Go ahead, Alderman Beatty. Sorry about the interruption.
I just want to add to the discussion of 8C that I reported that we as a consensus, the Democratic majority, endorsed the Plan of Conservation and Development with the caveat that the housing plan that we approved as a board, an entire board, in May of 2022 was incorporated. And I mentioned that not specifically, we weren't specific points, but the gist of the plan of housing approved by the board. And that's an important addition. Thank you.
Is there a motion to consideration?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, to review, is there a discussion before we vote? I'm not really clear on the change.
I think that
You make a motion. I make a motion we approve the minutes as amended by Alder Beatty.
Thank you, Alderman Moretti. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you to Alderman Beatty. So, Alderman Beatty, can you just repeat the addition that you're adding in that was discussed at the meeting?
I think that it's generally just pro forma when you approve minutes. Are there any additions? Sometimes it's minutia. I was present, my name isn't listed, I said this. In the discussion of the plan of conservation, I reported as the majority leader that we had discussed the POCD and endorsed it. And then we had that long discussion here, but we endorsed it as long as it included our own approved plan of housing, which this board, not just the Democrats, this Board of Aldermen approved in May 2022. I mean, it's just a correction.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next portion on the agenda is agenda item number 4. There was no special organizational meeting. Agenda number 5, Chairman's Report. I just want to mention that the month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's also the Italian Heritage Month and also Hispanic Heritage Awareness Month. That's all I have. Mr. Mayor, agenda item number 6, Mayor's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You took my Italian, American, Hispanic, and breast cancer items off my list. So I got nothing. No.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. As you know, we participated in hoisting the Italian flag this morning with a lot of notable Italians in attendance. And we're proud to do that, and also, to your point, recognize we will be illuminating the dome in recognition of breast cancer awareness. Also, we will proudly recognize Hispanic Heritage Month, which actually began September 15th and runs to October 15th. I had the honor of delivering a State of the City address to the Chamber a week or two ago. And to sum up my message to the Chamber and to the people gathered on that beautiful breezy afternoon down at Dockside was, my theme was basically focused on the good work that happens every day in our city, the good work done by our city department heads and our city staff. I told some stories of heroic efforts by our city employees, and I assured the Chamber that if they left that day with nothing else, they should leave with the assurance that the state of the city is excellent, and it is in good hands with the people that we have working for our city. And I might add, representing our city as well. Next week we will host an open house. I may have mentioned this last month. I'm pretty excited about it. We had a virtual call, a Zoom call the other day with representatives from all of our boards, non-elected boards and commissions. The idea of which is to allow our residents to come out and hear about the work that goes on every day on our boards and commissions. Give them an idea of what they all do, and invite them to attend meetings, and even if so desired, to sign up for consideration when we do a board and commission appointments. The response from the representatives from each of those boards or commissions was excellent. They all felt it was a great idea. It just creates a sense of transparency into our government, it engages with the public, and hopefully will attract some very capable people, as I've told so many, and I may have told you folks this last month. It strikes me that anytime I do approach somebody to ask if they would be interested in serving, invariably the answer is yes. And it's almost like they just had never considered it. And you've all probably had that experience. With an appointment we did last month to pension, we were short, we weren't able to hold quorum, we didn't get quorums for pension some days. And when I approached a very capable and qualified person, and she said yes, as if she was honored to be asked. How many more of those folks are out in our community? So it's going to be held here on October 11th, and I look forward to it, and I'll be anxious to provide you some feedback at our next meeting. And I think that's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're open under agenda item number 7, unfinished business. There is no unfinished business.
May I ask a question to the mayor?
Yes?
Okay, to the mayor's, thank you, through you, Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mayor, for letting us know about the boards and commission. I mean, as the Board of Aldermen also have a role in that, if you could incorporate us in some of the further information about it before the date, that would be terrific. And I wanted to also thank Julie Nash, because I know she was also instrumental, I think, in planning this as well. So we look forward to participating. I know we've all been talking about wanting to have that transparency and opportunities for many people to be outreached to in order to participate with us here in the city. And also, would this be something that could be on MGAT perhaps? Because I think our seniors also, if they can't come and they're inhibited by being able to be present, maybe we could do that too. Thank you.
I may have missed the first part about including the Board of Aldermen. The acoustics in here are poor. Could you repeat that part? I got the MGAT part.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that we could be incorporated too, just with information. I learned about this, I think, when some of my constituents did. So I think it's terrific and would love to be more active and participate in it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I lose track of I thought I brought it up at last month's mayor's report.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. But I'm glad I brought it up again.
Moving on to agenda item number 8, new business. Alderman Beatty, agenda item number 8A.
The Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the appointment of Democrat Matthew Connors, 198 West River Street, as a regular member of the Inland Wetlands Agency to fill the present vacancy, term to expire 12/31/25.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Beatty, agenda item number 8.
The Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the appointment of Democrat Cynthia Twist, 169 Gulf Street, as a regular member of the Fire Commission to fill the present vacancy, term to expire 12/31/24.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if we could pause for one moment to have our new board and commission members sworn in.
Are the approved members in the audience? Would you please step forward and have the city clerk swear you in?
To the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God. I will. Thank you.
Alderman Beatty, agenda item number 8C.
The Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached agreement between the City of Milford and South Central Connecticut Regional Water Authority regarding restoration and resurfacing costs for Country Lane, and to authorize the mayor, city attorney, and public works director to take all steps necessary, including signing all documents to effectuate said agreement.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I was
Alderman Beatty.
just going to add that the cost is just approximately $80,000. Do we need to have that in the approval? 79 when we look at it, 79,000 something. Just maybe not. But, okay.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. If I could have Director Chris Saley from the Public Works Department approach the podium, please. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Mr. Saley, can you just give us some background on this item that's before us tonight, please?
So it's a similar approval that we received from other utility works that we have. It's an indemnification clause, and Attorney Bertram requires you guys to approve it because of that indemnification clause. And what the utility company is doing is giving us an amount of money so that we can do some of the restoration work underneath our VIP pricing.
And this was work that was done by them that we're actually going to resurface, or?
Yeah, so the water company extended a new water main on Country Lane, about 1,400 linear feet. Country Lane also abuts, believe it or not, a subdivision in Orange, so we're working with Orange to complete the whole road. They've completed the new main with the new laterals, and this is the restoration work to finish the work.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Chris, I don't know if you just got through saying it and I didn't hear it, but is it the complete road that's restored and resurfaced at that point?
Yes, what's going to happen is the water company typically would do half the road because that's where half the road would be done, where the main is. We're doing the whole road as part of their payment. We're using their money to do both sides of the road.
Okay, I'm not familiar with Country Lane to see it, but I go down Trumbull Avenue an awful lot, and that seemed to have work done on it, but only half of it has been resurfaced. Will we do the other half?
No, that road wasn't as old. Country Lane was an older road. That road was recently done in the last 8 years, and I didn't see the value in using tax dollars to the other side. The other side still had probably 8 or 9 years of shelf life or service life on it.
You're talking Trumbull Avenue?
Trumbull Ave, yes.
But it does look odd and whatever, but aesthetics
Just
is
a
not going
different
to pay for
color.
it.
The surface is perfect.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? Alderman Marlowe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Chris. Chris, quick question for you on this, and so the water company is going to temporarily patch, right, what they've done, and then how long do you have to wait before you can resurface?
So this is a very good question, actually. Typically, I like to wait 6 months. But we're working with Orange, and Orange does not want to wait that long. So they've done the water company through Brennan Construction did the temporary asphalt restoration. We're going to come back and mill 2 inches off and put 2 inches back.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Beatty, agenda item number 8D.
Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached Milford Maintenance OPEX proposal between the City of Milford and Snyder Electric, and to authorize the mayor and public works director to take all steps necessary, including signing all documents to effectuate said maintenance agreement.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the city attorney. Attorney Bertram, good evening. Is this a renewal maintenance contract? Are we currently using them presently for maintenance, or is this something new?
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Giannattasio, did you say renewal? No, this is not a renewal. This is a newborn baby. This is Schneider Electric. You're familiar with the term because that's the engineering firm that designed our microgrid, which was a long time ago grant that we have resiliency for both the Parsons complex, the middle school, Harborside. I was going to say Central Grammar. I was really trying to date myself. Central Grammar, I went there. In any event, so this is a maintenance contract for the microgrid. Obviously, Schneider designed it. The reason it's before you, it's a 5-year term of an agreement. And obviously, it's their design. They're almost a sole provider in terms of servicing it because they know it best. I think Director Saley's here as well, but that's the spirit and intent behind this. If you have any other specific in terms of the microgrid, its performance, what it provides, and how Schneider can help us over the next several years in servicing and make sure that it works when it's supposed to.
Okay, so we haven't had any maintenance done to this system?
Well, I'm sure we've had maintenance, but this is on a going forward basis. It's tuned up, it's ready, and it's online. But this is, for lack of a better term, oil changes, changing the belts, things of that nature, making sure things are operating.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to correct the city attorney, but he's a little off on this one. So the Martin Energy, which this board already approved, has a service contract to maintain the CHP, which is the generator. That's the oil changes, the belts, the filters. That's the generator that's outside Parsons. It's a box that produces our electricity and also heat for the building. This is Schneider Electric was the company that produced or did the microgrid, which is all the connections, all the transformers, all the software. And I highly recommend the alderman should ask to see the room that we put in at Parsons. It's a pretty complicated system that was put in there, along with a 100 kW battery backup. That this is the integration, the brains of the microgrid. It's a service contract. It's a sole source because they did the project. That's why we're asking for a bid waiver, and we're asking for a 5-year contract because the city gets better value by locking it in for a 5-year term.
Thank you, Mr. Saley.
Mr. Chair, just for point of clarification, I was using the oil changes as an example, not as specifics, but I'll deal with the director after the meeting.
Alderman Marlowe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, hi, Chris. So there's certain things that are covered in here and probably things that may not be covered under here as well.
Yes.
Are they locked into an hourly rate, or how does that really work for anything that may not be covered in this?
There's a schedule for hourly rates, emergency calls. We have so many calls a year. Our goal is not to have any issues. This is really an insurance policy to make sure that if we have an issue with the software program, with the computer program, that they can troubleshoot. So there are times when they can and actually they've done it for the last year and a half without a contract, where they've troubleshot when we've had an issue. It is a very complicated system. To be honest with you, I didn't even realize how complicated it was until we put it in.
Thank you. I know it's a complicated system. How much repairs, troubleshooting, whatever, have we had to do over the years on this?
So there's two different components, Scott. One is obviously the actual generator. That's the one that there is a lot of work on that. Oil changes, I think it's every 700 hours. Repair work. We had an issue actually this morning. It went offline, and we're waiting for the repairman to come in tomorrow, Martin Energy, and they've been very responsive. That part and that was the learning curve for us. Obviously, we've never done a microgrid before. We've never done a generator like this. And we have two sources. One is the CHP, which we have at Parsons, but we also have a fuel cell that we purchased under a PPA, power purchase agreement, down at the Beaverbrook plant. And they own it 100%. We just buy energy from them. And that has been very, very beneficial to the city. This is a little bit more challenging. Steve Johnson and also some of our workers in the building maintenance department have taken a leadership role in managing the CHP as a whole.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 8E, Alderman Beatty.
The Board of Aldermen approval is requested per the attached recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission pursuant to CGS 8-24 of the General Connecticut Statutes to allow the owners of 1 and 3 Chester Street to construct driveway access within the right-of-way of Chester Road, subject to the attached agreement, and to authorize the city attorney and mayor to take all steps necessary, including signing all documents to effectuate said agreement.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Beatty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Through you to the attorney. I just have a question. When I look at the Paper Street out to Melba on the documents that we see, I do not see if there's a pavement walkway, and I know that that was discussed, so it can't tell from the diagram. And sometimes, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you to you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. And just for the record, members of the board, good evening. Nice to see you all. Just for the record, Thomas Lynch. I'm an attorney with the law firm Lynch, Trimbicki, and Boynton, and my office is located here in Milford at 63 Cherry Street. And Ellen, just to specifically answer your question, there's a proposal. This was similar to an application we brought back in 2016 for 2 houses that were constructed on 16 and 20 Westmore Road off of Point Beach Drive, where you had rear lots that fronted on an accepted city street or a paper street, stand corrected, actually a paper street. And the application that was presented at that time was approved by this board. I worked out an agreement with Attorney Burcham. The same agreement is what we're proposing to you tonight to be part and parcel of this application. So this property was the former site of the Beachcomber Cafe for many years in Milford. My client, who's here with me, Buddy Field, has built houses and apartments all across Milford, has been here for over 30 years building in Milford. And there were 4 non-conforming lots that were certified by the Planning and Zoning Office under Section 642 of our zoning regulations. 2 of the houses on those lots have already been constructed.
Right.
If you've seen the site, you see the 2 houses at 90 and 92 Melba Street. This application is to have a private driveway, an unimproved, not meeting city standards for a full city street, but a private driveway to go to the 2 lots to the rear. So to answer your question, I know I gave a long-winded answer to lead up to this, but that is paved. It will be paved. It's a driveway. It'll be 20 feet in width. There'll be 2 houses that will be serviced for ingress and egress by the driveway. And the first house is lot number 1, Chester Street, which another caveat here is that the assessor's office has actually assigned the address of Chestnut Street to the 2 houses that are going to go here. So I'm going to send an amended agreement to Attorney Burcham's office for signature by the mayor if the board sees fit to approve this application. But there's a 20-foot driveway that will go to, it'll branch off to the right to service number 1 Chestnut Street, and then branch like a Y off to the left to service number 3. And again, the agreement, I don't know if it's been disseminated to you,
Yes.
if you had a chance to see it. It's the exact same agreement that we used in 2016 with the Westmore Road lots. It provides basically a win-win for both sides. My client doesn't have to improve the road, so to speak, to city standards with curbs and sidewalks. But on the other hand, the city is waived for any liability. The city is waived for any maintenance of the road. The city is waived for providing plowing and garbage pickup. The 2 residents would actually have to bring their recycling bins and garbage bins out to the corner where that driveway meets Melba Street. So, as I said, it's got pluses on both sides, and I'd ask that you approve this application.
Thank you, that was very helpful, but just so you know, we do have the documents, and we did look. I couldn't find it. I went down to look, and I couldn't find on the GPS the Chest Street. I saw the aerial view of the driveway. It's
Right.
all very clear, but I just was wondering about walking access.
Yes.
But thank you.
The actual street appears on a 1910 map of the Point Beach area, so I don't believe the GPS
Right. It's-
software picks up quote-unquote paper streets. I may be not correct there, but if that's what you saw, I hope my comments have sort of filled in the blanks there. The paved driveway would go to that area, basically to the left of the two houses that, as you stand in the street, you see them now.
And the assistant in the mayor's office was helpful in giving us the documentation so that we remember the other easement from,
Right.
I don't know when you said that
2016.
was. When was that?
That was 2016, and that caused
I was there.
a little bit more comment because
Right.
there were neighbors that were concerned about the wetlands and
Right.
runoff, and there's no wetland involvement here. And
Right.
I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, Attorney Giantassio was very much involved in that discussion.
Right.
And
Myers Court, yes.
yes,
Okay. Thank you.
all right. Any other questions? If any of the other members of the board have, I'd be happy to entertain them.
So when it's trash day and recycling day, they have to bring their bins all the way to Melba Street,
Correct.
even in the snow?
Even in the snow, Tone.
Good.
Phil, you've
I-
carried bins and a lot of other things a lot farther than
you-
75 feet from these houses out to the road, so.
Because I get a call, you could ask Chris Saley, I get calls all the time. How
No,
come
Chris is a happy guy. He doesn't have to send trucks down this road.
Okay. Alderman Casey.
Just so clear to you, Attorney Lynch. So the city still retains the ownership of the parcel. You just have, your client wants to just have a right-of-way?
Right, and if you read, I think the last paragraph, Mike, it says in there that the city is not giving up anything. The city is not abandoning a road. If that's maybe a concern that folks may have had in reading this, that's not happening, and it's in the document that if, in fact, the city wanted, for some reason, to improve this road in the future, they could. You keep in mind, with the marsh that's present there, there's probably 100 feet more or less that come in off of Melba, and then you hit the marsh. And then curiously enough, that 1910 map has a continuation on the other end coming off of Orland, or maybe it's Welch's Point Road, and there are houses at that end on a street called Chester Street. So. And it's similar to Westmore Road. If you're all familiar coming in off of Edgefield and Melba Street, you come down Atwater and you shoot to the left there. That dead end is Westmore, but on the 1912 Merwin Estate map, that road continues all the way to Point Beach Drive. And that was the area where the other two houses were built that we had the private driveway situation 7 years ago.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just one point of clarification, just while the lawyers are speaking, Attorney Casey, Attorney Lynch, just as we talk about rights of ways, I just want to make abundantly clear to this board that the city doesn't own this paper road. It has a public right. It's a public right of way. It's just an unimproved street. So to Attorney Lynch's point, the city is not abandoning or discontinuing its right to improve the road at some time in the future. It's not abandoning its right to have the public pass and repass over this driveway, in fact. Now, why anyone other than the occupants of the homes that are going to be built would ever go down that road? Maybe, Phil, you want to bring the toters back down to the fine people if it snows? You can do that. But, so we don't own it in fee. We just have a right to pass and repass, and we're not discontinuing or abandoning that as part of this agreement.
Right, and just to emphasize what John just said, these two homeowners, it's not like they can put a sign at the end that says private drive. It's not. It's not a private drive. It's just that the city is allowing access to those houses with a driveway, so they cannot post anything that keeps the public from utilizing the city's right of way.
Alderman Giannatasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, good evening, Attorney Lynch.
Good evening.
So you mentioned that these lots originally were pre-existing non-conforming?
Correct.
The 4 lots?
They
Okay.
appeared on a pre-1929 subdivision map, so that's what characterizes them as legal non-conforming lots. They were on a subdivision map that predated the imposition of the zoning regulations, so when the subdivision was made, and I'm not saying it was approved by a planning and zoning board, because we didn't have a planning and zoning board until 1929, but those lots, if they're on a map pre-1929, they're legal non-conforming lots.
Thank you.
Any more discussion on the motion? So because it's not a city-approved road, it won't be plowed by the city, correct?
Correct, and that's in the agreement, Phil.
Hey, I see it.
That's one of the main specific clauses in the agreement, that the city is washing its hands of having to maintain that driveway.
Correct. Thank you, Tom. Alderman Beatty.
Through you, Mr. Speaker, thank you to Attorney Lynch. And how is that enforced? Suppose the homeowner at some point does put up a private drive, and is there any enforcement, or has that happened?
I suppose either the Public Works Director or the zoning enforcement officer could be sent out and say, take it down because you're posting a sign in the city right away that's improper.
I guess I was asking, to your knowledge, has that been done, and is that an issue?
I'm not aware. I'm not aware of that.
All right.
No, I stand corrected. I got a good one for you. Back in the early 80s, I won't mention his name, but he was a great guy. He had a house on Shell Avenue in Milford, and he went before the zoning board and got a marina approved on Rogers Avenue. Some of you, if you're a little bit older, you may remember who I'm talking about. Well, next to his house on Shell Avenue was a passway going to the beach, and he posted a do not trespass sign, and the city made him take it down.
Right.
So I can cite that as an example where an enforcement can be made. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks so much.
Next item on the agenda is new business. There is no new business. Agenda item number 10, moving on to budget memo transfers. Alderman Beatty, agenda item number 10.
Budget memo transfers, consideration of budget memo transfers number 1 and number 2, funds 1005.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed?
I was just going to, thank you, Mr.
Alderman
Speaker.
Parenti.
Oh, sorry.
I was just wondering if we could get a summary of the transfer from our Director of Finance, please. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Alderman Parenti. In summary, the transfer consists of 2 areas of funding. We are requesting a transfer of funds, number 1, to fund a special project manager to work part-time with our Human Resources Department on a set of projects that was requested by the administration for the city. And the second need is for 3 iPad units for the Department of Permitting and Land Use.
Thank you. Chairman, another question through you. Could someone from the administration walk us through what that list of projects are, please?
Mr. Chairman, through you, primarily, first of all, HR is a little short-staffed right now, so primarily there is a focus, as I've shared with this board in the past, to do a salary survey, which will take some time. We need to get into the details of job descriptions and so forth so that we can, for the city, put together a comprehensive and timely comparison of our salaries for like jobs across similar municipalities. So that's one of the projects that I know that our HR department is focused on and will take some time to compile.
Thank you, Chairman. I was reading the minutes from the Board of Finance. Could someone elaborate about how this role would be, deconstructed, I guess? What part would be assigned to the benefits position that I think there's an open position right now for, and then what portion of it would go towards special projects? Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Alderman Parenti, I do recall in my conversations with Director Barnes that on the list of projects, she also mentioned the need for help because they're short-staffed with work on pension audit. So there is a component related to benefits as well. I do know that because of the vacancy that she has with the pension benefit administrator and also an upcoming leave for her assistant that helps her, and that is also a position in the office. There are actually going to be 2 vacancies, if you will. So she will need help with these projects with the pension audit related work, and also to help support her and the HR generalist with the demands of the office. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 11, moving on to refunds. Alderman Beatty, agenda item number 11A.
Consideration of refunds in the amount of $41,077.81.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 12, report of standing committees. Is there any reports from any standing committees? I don't see any. We'll move on to agenda item number 13, reports of special committees. Is there any reports of any special committees? Alderman Beatty.
Thank you. Through you, Speaker Vitro, Chairperson Vitro. I would like to report on the Library Committee, and I have asked the assistance of Director Saley from Public Works, who's in the audience. He has some information. There is a party in the Stacks on October 21st as a fundraiser for the library, so we put that in as an announcement. And we have a liaison to the library, Brett Browser, but he's not present tonight, so I have asked for assistance from Public Works Director about the elevator status.
Thank you. So the elevator pretty much has been installed. There's some other mechanicals that have to be installed, and right now we're waiting for some final details in regards to, we're upgrading the fire system as required by the state fire marshal to identify certain areas in the library that were, the old system didn't work the way it should have. So with the new upgrades, this is required. So we believe, I was telling Alderman Beatty that I believe it will be done by the end of the month. We're waiting for some parts right now to come in, and once they're in, they'll be installed. It's an additional change order for about $24,000.
What was that figure again, if you could say?
A little over $24,000.
Thank you, Director Saley.
Any more discussion on the motion?
There's no motion.
Oh, Alderman Mulrennan.
I just want to report on the Board of Health. The State Department of Public Health is having the state commissioner and the deputy commissioner. You're all set, Chris. You can sit down. The state commissioner and the deputy commissioner are going around to the different departments of health throughout the state to gather information on what each department is doing because they all have different functions. And so last week, Milford was on schedule, and the state commissioner and the deputy commissioner came in and evaluated the Department of Health. The mayor was there along with that. And the commissioner and the deputy commissioner are very impressed with all that they do. So in keeping with the mayor's theme of acknowledging good city employees and good department heads, I wanted to acknowledge this event. And under the leadership of Deepa Joseph, who is the department head for both health and human services, I just wanted to give that feedback to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Mulrennan. Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
No discussion.
Yes.
No discussion.
Alderman Gurman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to bring up something on the planning and zoning meeting for tomorrow night. They're proposing, the developers of the mall are proposing adding up to 750 homes or apartments or housing. So that will be come up for discussion tomorrow night and possible vote on changing zoning regulations. So if anybody's concerned with that or wants to hear what it's about, I encourage you to come tomorrow night at, 7 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Gurman, for that announcement. Is there any more reports of any special committees? Seeing none, we'll open on the rule agenda item number 14. I will entertain a motion to enter executive session to discuss item 14A. Joining us in executive session will be the Mayor, Rich Smith, and City Attorney, John Burcham. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to go in executive session. All in favor? Opposed? We're in executive session. Someone want to make a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to come out of executive session. All in favor? Opposed? We're out of executive session. Alderman Beatty.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. 14A, consideration to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Milford and Local 944 International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO, July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned.